Hello everyone, my name is Legendary and this game is Rise of Kingdoms. Buffs and debuffs, how do they actually work? I'm gonna find out in this video and I'm gonna explain you in this video how they actually work, because this is very important and something that you need to know, especially when you prepare your marchers for field battles or which. Before I'm gonna go more into the video, I'm gonna have to explain what debuff is. The divine revelation from Joan of Arc is considered a buff. A debuff is a negative buff. I just like to call it a debuff just in case you're going through the video and you're not understanding what I mean by debuff. So Ethelflaed primary skill, reducing attack, defense and health on the target, is a negative buff. But me personally, I like to call it a debuff. It's a terminology that we've been using in MMOs for a very long time, and I just got used to it. If you haven't seen, when I've done the video regarding the Mulan, I was pretty hyped that Joan of Arc and Mulan stacks. It's not actually what you see on the picture, is not what is happening, and the support has kind of explained it, and based on that answer from the support, I'm doing this video and explain it further how buffs and debuffs work. I have over here the answer from the support from Julius Caesar. It says, hi, the buffs from Mulan and Joan will not be stacked. I'm not sure they use the correct wording about not stacking. So if you get one buff from either of them, the value will be added. And if you get both buffs to one commander, for example, as the picture you sent to us, the infantry health will be added 30% and the attack and defense will be added 20%. I would say that they stack, but they just don't add. I mean, that would be my understanding. And what I'm trying to say by that, they stack, you see them on the battle log, you see both of them, meaning that they do stack. It's just that the value doesn't add. That will be my explanation for it. And then going further, explains that you get attack and you get the defense and 30% march speed, but the health will not be added as 20% plus 30% exactly. So they stack, but they don't add. The value doesn't add if it's the same stat value. This makes perfect sense what they're saying over here. How the system works, this is what I'm trying to explain in this video. Because we have multiple commanders that can grant you buffs. We have Cleopatra and we have William. So I'm gonna give you another example. You get Joan of Arc, you get Mulan, you get William, and you get Cleopatra for your cabs. So that's 20% defense, 15% defense, 20% defense again, and 30% defense from Joan. Basically, if you put all this together, you should get a whole lot of defense, but you don't. According to what the support is explaining, it's just the strongest buff that will be carried on. So William, on his 4th skill, if you max it out, it grants you 20% defense. Mulan and grants you 15%, and with expertise 20. Cleopatra grants you 15% defense with her primary skill, but only Joan of Arc will be considered with 30% defense on your caps. However, you will still get the attack and health from your Mulan, so I hope that kind of makes a little bit of sense, meaning that the amount of support commanders that you need to bring on the battlefield is kind of dropping. So Cleopatra will become completely useless to be brought on the battlefield, because William just grants 20, Mulan just grants 20 as well, 15 or 20, which are much better support than Cleopatra. You don't really need to bring Cleo anymore on the battlefield. It makes a lot of sense how the buffs work, because when I've done the Mulan video, I was actually thinking that they add like the 20% health, since they show up on the battle log, that they will add, and you just get like a whole lot of health and defense for infantry, which would have been way too much. Now the questions I need to ask is, will the march speed going to stack with some other commanders that grant march? For example, you have Takeda himself on his 3rd or 4th skill, or no, 2nd skill, it grants 30% march speed increase with a 10% chance. Now will this one stack with Mulan's buff? That's going to be the tricky question. And to actually find that, it just needs more and more and more testing and keep reading battle logs. And even if you read the battle logs, apparently the buffs, they do show up. And how will you know that it will actually have effect? Probably have to ask support like a gazillion of questions regarding everything. But at least it's clear how the support commanders and how do you get your buffs on your marches. Because it's pretty important when you read your battle log to know what you're reading in there. The second part of the video is how the debuffs work, because that's something we want to know as well. You have so many commanders, or we have so many commanders that reduce attack, defense, or health, or increase the damage on the target. How do they work? They work the same way. For example, the easiest example that I can give you is Constantine. When Constantine primary skill goes on a target, reduces attack by 40%. After that, if Ethelflaed goes in the same time on the target, reduces attack, defense, and health reduction. Does that mean that the target will have 70% attack reduction? No. It will only be the strongest one that will work, but defense and health from Ethelflaed will be carried on. So Constantine will reduce attack on the target by 40%. Ethelflaed will reduce defense and health on the target by 30%. If you're using a Constantine and an Ethelflaed on the target. Now going further and further into it, there's a lot of commanders that reduce defense on the target. So for example, we have Ramses with his expertise, multiple commanders that reduce the same stats. If you use it on the target, you might have a chance that just one of them will work if they all go in the same time. Then you have Julius Caesar, so if you're swarming buildings with Julius Caesar, again defense reduction by up to 30% for 3 seconds. Then you have Tomiris with her third skill, defense reduction by up to 30%, and there's probably plenty of other commanders that do that. As attack reduction, I believe Attila is the highest one with 50%. But what is very unique about Ethelflaed is that she's the only one that reduces health. One more commander that reduces health, I believe, is Chandragupta with his third skill, health and defense reduction. Now my presumption is that the highest one works on the target. The only difference is that Chandragupta can keep this on the target for pretty much as long as he is hitting the target. When all these commanders' troops are cavalry, health is increased by up to 20%, and each attack have a 50% chance to add a stack of exhaust to the target, reducing their health and their defense. Each stack lasts 5 seconds and can stack up to 3 times. Now that's going to be 15 health and 15 defense. This is what is pretty good about Chandragupta, because Ethelflaed goes in for 2 seconds and then you pretty much need to wait 6-8 turns until she's gonna cast her primary again, while Chandragupta with that 50% chance pretty much can keep this health and defense reduction all the time. Since you have so many commanders that reduce defense, I don't think the defense will make a difference, but the health, the 50% health reduction will make a difference. Going further into the debuffs, and that's where I'm going to include Mulan, some of the newest commander. You got Alexander with his expertise, which it says gain a shield, lasts for 4 seconds, which can absorb large amount of damage, 1200, and during the effect, up to 3 enemies troops in a circular area take 30% increased damage for 4 seconds. That's pretty amazing. His circular area is quite huge on Alexander. Then you go on to Minamoto and you have the Warlord. Damage taken increased by up to 30% with a 10% chance, 30% for 3 seconds. Do they stack? No, just one of them will go in effect. After that, you're going on to Mulan on her 4th skill, which the second part of the skill, when serving as a secondary commander, her active skill when she's using it causes the target to take 20% increased damage from all sources. I believe that the wording on Minamoto and Alexander is different than the Mulan, but I'm expecting the effect to be the same. The wording on Mulan is just a little bit different, but what I'm expecting these skills to work is going to be for any march that is hitting that target. And since it doesn't specify the damage on Minamoto and Alexander, we can presume that it is considered all damage. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because if Mulan will go in the same time of Minamoto and Alexander, I'm expecting that only Minamoto or Alexander will work, because that is the highest damage increase. This is what I believe how things work now after I got that message from the support regarding the buffs or the negative buffs. There's plenty of other commanders that gives buffs and debuffs on the battlefield or on the marches, but I just want to bring a couple of them to give you an idea that you cannot increase a target's damage by who knows how much, 80%, or reduce a target's attack by 120%, or increase your buffs by 100 defense or whatever if you bring all the support commanders. It's always the strongest buff that works for your marchers and the strongest negative buff that works for your opponent marcher. This would be the easiest way I can explain. This is how I'm understanding things right now, and I just want to put it in a video for you. If you do have any question, if you do believe that things work differently, drop it in the comment section below and we can definitely talk about it. Until next time, this is your boy Legendary signing off. Peace out, yo, and take care. See you on the next one, and stay safe out there.